Nothing good. The void woken are everywhere. Thank the divine you're here to protect us.
You're safe among us. Yes, of course. Never forget it.
Okay, let's just check everything's working as it should be. Yes, it is. Fantastic. Okay.
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Okay, so I have reached Driftwood. I haven't made it to the tavern yet or anything like that. I think it might be over here. Let's have a look. Is this the tavern?
Magister Regional Headquarters and Jail, Driftwood.
Okay, so no, that's not the tavern. That's just a barn.
Smells worse over here than a dungeon.
Once, this was a tavern, or a hotel, or a brothel.
So this looks like it might be it.
All hope destroyed. The path thus ended, the conclusion of a noble bloodline.
He fixes you with a stare, looks you up and down, weighs you up, the cut of your cloth, the weight of your bag. A moment passes. Then a smile creases his face, a smile carefully constructed to look friendly and authentic, a smile that doesn't reach his eyes.
Greetings, stranger. Looking to ease the pain of a decaying world? You're in the right place. Beers are ordered at the bar, but can I interest you in a nourishing bowl of stew?
He purses his lips. His fingers drum a pattern on his elbow as he assesses you.
Let's try it with...
He fixes you with a stare, looks you up and down. Then a smile creases his face.
Greetings, stranger.
He purses his lips. His fingers drum a pattern on his elbow as he assesses you. A lascivious smile spreads across his face. His tongue darts from his mouth to lick the spittle from his lips.
Let me ask you this. Across the world, who is renowned above all others for their exquisite love-making abilities? Well, I'm sure that in your own case that sentiment is almost true. But no, let me tell you the truth of the matter. My friend, the very best lovers are, whisper it, lizards. And for a barely significant sum of gold, I can introduce you to the greatest lizard lover the world has ever seen. Well, this is what's available. Take it or leave it. And I suggest you take it. It's better to...
He holds out his hand.
We don't have anything else to discuss, so if you'll excuse me, I'll get back to work.
So I've just not paid to have sex with a lizard.
Ramos the Wanderer promised he'd be here.
We wait, we wander and wonder, seeking signs from the gods. May the seven ushers
Which I might just cast
against all
Spirit Vision in here. Oh, I found somebody straight away.
The spirit of a magister stares dumbly at her translucent hand, the fingers of which have been sheared off.
So basically, I've now got a spell that lets me see the dead. I've only just got it, so I'm just kind of playing around with it, but I figured there'd probably be somebody in the tavern, and sure enough there is.
My ring! Where's my ring?
The spirit pivots her wrist, staring at the fingerless hand, utterly, morbidly entranced.
I should have been more careful. She hacked at my sword hand first. I couldn't defend myself.
The spirit stares, absorbing your question. Finally, she points her fingerless hand towards the kitchen. The spirit's lips part, trying to form an answer, but it doesn't come. She forlornly stares at you, unable to find the words.
Oh, okay. So I'm kind of in the middle of a bit of a murder investigation. So it sounds like she may have been one of the people that got murdered.
The spirit looks at you with the smallest flicker of realization.
I was still alive when she started cutting pieces off me. She wanted me to feel it. All of it.
The spirit inclines her head towards the kitchen.
So it's the cook, I think. I've already spoken to one other person who sort of suggested it might be.
The spirit ponders your question and seems to shiver.
Oh, in many places. I feel my body.
So the
in
cook's been
100
feeding
moving graves.
bodies to people.
Warm and wet.
The smaller good if you think you're on the arse.
Usher us to paradise.
So who's this person at the bar? Is it staff of the cook?
An elf sways on her chair,
no, it's an elf.
her eyes focused on the counter in front of her, where she has 6 glasses in a row. With the
She
nails
does.
of 2 fingers, she's pressing red welts into her forearm. She slides one of the drinks towards you, her head bobbling heavily on her neck as she nods at the sparkling ale.
And that.
Her eyes go wide with panic.
The fog came over them all of them, and they never came out. Everyone I know is dead. Excuse me.
Okay. So yeah, so the spell lasts for a while, doesn't it? So she's now drunk. Oh, okay, so that's what that is above her head. That's just telling me that she's drunk.
Wait, we wander and wonder, seeking signs from the gods.
Pretty good, ain't he? Bet he'd even write a poem for you if you sidled up all nice like. His words get me, you know.
You have interrupted my newest masterpiece.
The bard clears his throat and gargles on his own saliva. He then returns to his poem, but his voice cracks mid-verse.
I've also sussed out how to get the camera to do this when it goes into a talky bit, so you can. It doesn't always work brilliantly, but I see that dwarf pretty well.
Well, never you mind. Every sonnet I compose is a masterpiece, and my muse has been begging me to write something new. Wait! You might be just the stimulus I needed. I shall craft a rhyme for you and your race. All I ask in return is a handful of coins. It's an offer of a lifetime.
Let's see if I can get him to do it with Hero.
Normally I'd argue with you, but you do have a certain look about you. Very well. But if I am to write a first-rate work, you must face some difficult questions.
He stares at you for a few torturing moments.
My first question. Are you hungry? Actually, that's not quite what I mean. But you eat flesh. When you look at me, what do you see? A dwarf? A bard? A meal?
So basically, I'm an elf. So if I wasn't playing as an elf, I wouldn't be able to do this. But I can eat like limbs and stuff, and it gives me the memories of people that and what they've done. And sometimes I get a skill.
He smiles a crooked smile and runs a hand through his greasy hair.
An elf craves those memories like an addict craves Drudanay. A pity that you turn to the dead for emotional sustenance. Would you not rather form bonds with the living?
So I'm going to tell him that I'm not addicted to memories.
I suspect you collect memories not for knowledge, but from fear. Your homeland fell to the ravages of war and death fog. You worry of more loss, more loneliness. Tell me, elf, are you afraid?
The bard hems and haws, then bellows his next words to anyone who might hear.
To all lovers of verse, I bring glorious news. I have have completed another modern classic. Listen now, and bask in its resounding refrain. An elf collects the wisdom of the ages. Learn from flesh and bone both left behind.
Menu simple.
Fill up on tales.
Eat or drink or
Let's talk
A
to
prim
Freedom.
woman in a starched apron wipes a glass with a clean rag. She pins you with blue, steel-sharp eyes as you approach the bar.
Blessings upon our Lucian, 7 times divine.
The soft lines of her face fold into a warm smile. She sets the glass on the counter and pours you a generous portion of an amber liquor.
I see your mother raised you very well indeed. Rare for an elf, but all the more impressive. You and my Niles might even get along. What brings you to Driftwood, darling? Yes, that's my boy. Did you know him? Finest physician in all of Reaper's Coast. Top of his class. My, but it's been too long since I've seen him.
So probably best not to insult her or tell her that I killed him. I guess.
A fine physician indeed. That's my boy. Some say all a growing child needs is food and sunshine. I say abstinence and chastity will grow him finer than either one of those. Oh, but it's so good to meet a friend of Niles. Here, have a little something to eat. Niles' favourite, you know. No one in our little town can appreciate work so fine as his, you know. All his instruments and books are stored away upstairs, all but forgotten. It's such a terrible waste. Well, I'd love to show you, but I'm afraid I can't leave the bar unattended. This crowd isn't to be trusted, believe you me. But I suppose, well, there's no harm, is there? You seem to be a good sort. One of Lucian's own, isn't that right? Here, take this key and head on up the stairs. You'll find Niles' room there. He'd want to know his fine things weren't languishing unappreciated in his old room.
So Loverick, is that the guy? Yeah, it's the guy who talked to me when I came in.
An elf collects the wisdom.
Finally! Your colleague over there is absolutely useless. I'll have a bowl of the house stew, if you please.
Fill up on tales lived by cultures past.
Oh, I can give him the stew.
A feast not for the belly.
Or I might come back.
Heartless.
Knowledge, not of shiny trinkets. They know the past.
Something's going on outside, I think.
She nods an uninterested greeting.
Here for the fight? This is a tavern. People are drinking. Eventually there'll be a fight. You planning on starting one? Pity. Well, later then.
You've got enough.
eat or drink or both.
Hold it. Papa no no. You no go.
He grins, unpleasantly.
Loha didn't tell me to let any scarred lady in, so why should I?
So I'm just gonna. I know the password, so
He cocks his head to one side and peers appraisingly into your eyes. Shrugging his shoulders, he stands aside and spits on the ground, perilously close to your boot.
okay. So I found a new area. Right, this is probably a good time to do a quick save. And I might just put.
I've spotted something.
Okay, so we need to. Don't really want to risk anybody getting. So let's go to Fane, set that on fire. And then go back to Seville and make it rain. And then I should put the fire out. And then if I go back to, should be able to dig the dirt pile up. And I got a load of money. Good stuff. Back to what have I found down here?
Look at that. A fresh face. Lean and lovely. Like any true elf. Good to meet you, Governor. What's your poison, then? A sip or a smoke? Take all the time you need. Pleasure doing business with you, Governor.
So she doesn't have anything that exciting to sell. But she does have lots of money. It's just worth being able to go back to her. Ooh, who have I found? Okay, so I found somebody for the lizard guy. Oh, and
Ifan approaches you, a drink in his hand and a wide smile on his face. He clearly feels at home in this grimy place.
Want a drink?
He grins and hands you a drink, full of good cheer.
It's really been some adventure so far, eh?
So I think in this one, which you didn't have in the first one, that you can kind of have relationships with the other characters.
Ifan's eyebrows raise, and his cheeks colour beneath his beard.
I'd say the same about you.
Ifan smiles, shyly. It's not a familiar expression on his rugged face. He inches closer to you, so close that you can feel the heat of his body warming you. You can smell his scent, wild and animalistic.
Seville.
He reaches out one scarred hand to touch your face, gentle as can be. Trembling, he smiles. Closing his eyes, he moves to kiss you too. Noise erupts in the under-tavern around you as patrons cheer and clap your affection.
I was just about to say it's all a bit Pablo.
Ifan meets your eyes and laughs softly, pulling you into a bear hug.
Let's try this again sometime, when there's not quite so much company.
He squeezes your hand and winks, only moving away when he sees your answering smile.
Probably worth doing though. Oh, is there somebody up there? Oh yeah, there is somebody up there. I think they're asleep, aren't they?
Watch 'em fight. Watch 'em. See that? Right in the kisser. Doesn't
Ooh. Let's definitely buy that. Of course, it's not cheap, is it? Buy all of those. What skill books has she got? Blanks. Okay. This is when we get up into little tight spaces like this. It's always a nightmare trying to get back on the ladders. There we go. Right, I may as well go and have this conversation. I think it's this guy here. Probably need to switch to.
My good lady, I see that you accompany no other than His Royal Majesty, the Red Prince. I have a message for him of quite vital importance, if you'd be so kind.
Of course she'll be so kind. Speak freely, kinsman.
Directions, milady. I was bid to send you to none other than Bramos the Wanderer. He was waiting for you here, my prince. But...
He looks around the hazy room with hasted eyes.
The House of Shadows stirs. The Honorable Bramos sensed them closing in. He had no choice but to flee from Driftwood. A little ways east he went, in search of safety, to an encampment of paladins. You will find him there, Majesty. And with that, I have told my tale.
Indeed I am. We will follow your directions. You have my thanks, kinsman.
Prince of Princes, I am humbled and grateful.
He bows deeply before the Red Prince, as reverently as one would before a god.
Okay. Oh, now he wants to talk to me too.
The House of Shadows stirs. An ominous phrase. It's as if I can feel the onset of night. Quite. But you must realize that until a short while ago, the very existence of the House of Shadows was a mystery to us. If this thing of darkness steps into the light, it must be desperate. And desperate means dangerous. You still stand by me, then, despite us being targeted by such a formidable foe? That is quite admirable, I must say. Onward, then. Let them strike when they may. We shall be ready for them.
Okay. So I think there's somebody else to talk to in here on the first floor, but I just want to make sure
Are you? No, you aren't.
Hail, delicate beauty. Call me Dorothy.
What does that do? I'm gonna have to start buying some of this sort of stuff at some point.
She draws close. You feel her breath on your neck, hot, moist.
Oh, yes. I have something that you want. But I only bargain with those I deem deserving. Those who have accomplished great things. So, tell me, are you worthy of my gift? Love. I must consider your merits before I answer your questions. Why, I wouldn't tease you with a gift I could never offer. You don't think me cruel, do you? Indeed? This is acceptable. You are nearer the one than most self-described heroes I've known. So, tell me, are you ready for me to grant you your greatest desire? I see the questions scurrying through your head. It's worrying too much and wandering too far. If you show yourself to me, I will show myself to you. You have a need. To expose it, look into my ring and tell me what you see there.
Okay, so I'm just gonna see what happens with the ring before I do it. So basically, so I'm going to consider coming
Until
back.
later.
She's secretly a giant spider, apparently. Okay, yeah, I will probably come back to her at some point and do that quest. Oh, let's just make sure I saw everything I was supposed to see in here. I think I did, didn't I? Oh no, maybe not. Oh, there's another room down here full of... Ah, I think this is probably the room.
What do you want? Boss is busy. Loha, you've been living under a boulder. Good. Boss could use some good news. Listen up. Don't waste his time. These are explosive times. Be respectful.
Marla's one of us.
So this is where the dwarves are, I think.
You're one of us, ain't you? Tell us what happened.
I brought you up from girl to woman, Marla. Like you was my own. This...
He lifts his right arm, showing a white bandage beneath his ribs. A wet red spot shows through.
This ain't the thanks I expected. Who sent you?
The formidable dwarf slams his fist on the side table. You hear a loud crack.
Enough! Do you know they killed Anna? Do ya? Start talking sense or I'll take that tongue right out of your mouth and fry it for supper. Bart, Cade, get her to talk or bleed her out. She ain't one of mine anymore.
His sneer travels from the restrained dwarf to you.
And you. You better have a damn good reason for coming here.
You're making this much harder than it needs to be.
Brave lass, waltzing in here now. I hope for your sake you've got good news for me. Family matter. She's one of mine, acting like her brains are scrambled though. Came after me with a knife. Lucky for me, she caught an old wound. Scar slowed down the knife. So, how'd you make it out of Fort Joy? I've got people. They've got people. People talk. The Magisters never shut up long enough to listen. But me, I love a good story. Here's one I heard lately. A group of strangers landed on the beaches outside town. Meister Seaver's people. You one of her little seekers? Chasing down Godwoken and begging them to save us all. So? What do you want? Reckon I do. Knowing Seaver, she sent you looking for sorcerers, I bet. I could help you. But last I heard, you was working for the Magisters. Big shots at the boats. Now, why in the name of all the Earths would I help a worm like that?
So basically, depending on what I've kind of ploughed my points into, so I should be able to persuade him. Yeah. Remember, you probably remember the last game, it was like that rock, paper, scissors game in Conversations that was just a nightmare. They've got rid of that for this one.
An unpleasant smirk twitches around the corners of his mouth.
Right. I reckon I could help you out, depending on what you can do for me.
He gestures towards the bandage across his side.
Had a bit of family trouble lately. My girl Marla got it in her head to come after me with a short blade. That ain't like Marla. Ain't like her to pull the silent treatment either. Something's going on. And wouldn't you know it, that blade she used wasn't any normal bit of steel. Belonged to another of my people. Guy's name is Mordus. Bit of a loner, but smart as hell. I sent a few guys to go check on him, see if he knew what had got into Marla, but no one can find him. I'd like a word with the guy. Glad you see it that way. No one's seen him in a good few. I've got some people checking out his house near the tavern now, though. Tell them I sent you, and they'll let you know what they've found. Truth is, they might be glad to see you. Reckon a sorcerer will have better luck finding one of their own. Well, like I said, Mordus is a special guy. A sorcerer, matter of fact. Maybe even one of the ones Seaver's after. If there's something you want to find out from him, you might want to ask before I have my word with him. Here, you can take this off my hands. More suited to your kind, really. Good luck.
Okay. So I'm getting closer to finding a sorcerer. And I also think I'm going to have to make some choices at some point, because I've also been given some jobs by the Magisters. I've got a feeling they might clash with some of the stuff so there must be an... Ah, yeah, there we go, it's the stairs up.
Curiosity kills the cat, or gets it sent to Fort Joy.
The town is poor, but this room is
You're willing to risk Fort Joy
rich.
for one night with a lizard.
A weathered woman in a dirty sea captain's tunic babbles breathlessly to herself.
The bell rings a warning and the tide is on the turn. And I without my compass.
You've got a pick and you can trust.
The ship is in the locker. On the bottom in the rocky shallows. And all are drowned but me. And yet, can you hear?
I can see a sorcerer
The
from
bell rings on. The bell haunts me yet, and it would drive me mad. Perhaps I am already mad. But I swear I hear the bells. Please, make it stop.
She buries her head in her hands and cries.
Make it stop.
Then you're an idiot.
So I'm not really sure what that was about, but let's have a look.
Who rings the bell?
So I'm guessing, let's go back to... Here he is.
A ghostly seaman stares at the captain, his lip curled in a malevolent grin.
Take the wheel, Captain. Take the wheel.
Oh no. Oh, thank goodness for that. Otherwise, I was going to about to end up in prison.
I can see a sorcerer from a mile away.
Curiosity kills the cat, or gets it sent to Fort Joy.
The ghostly seaman rings his bell, his hate directed at his captain. He turns to you.
Spoke to the lady captain, didn't you? I seen you, elf, cozying up. Are you with her, or sail you with us?
So basically, I used source magic in the pub, and the Magister, the guy who's now stood behind us all, obviously heard me or sensed me do it.
I'm doing my duty here, I am. I'm the lookout, and I'm ringing the bell. Rocks ahead, Captain. There's no lighthouse here. Rocks ahead! Ha 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 ha! But I'm on duty here. There are rocks ahead, and the captain must know it.
He blinks once, twice. A single salty tear drips from one ghostly eye. The bell falls silent. He raises a finger to his temple in salute. and fades away.
So let's talk to her because I've sorted her out.
She babbles breathlessly on, barely aware you're...
My ears are still a-ringing. And I have you to thank for it? Then thank you, I surely do. That accursed bell lies with the Peacemaker, on the bottom in the rocky shallows. My compass lies there too. The compass surely lies on the bottom, near where the ship was wrecked. Take it with my blessing, if you can find it. My sailing days are done. Let me mark your chart. But you be warned. Stay off the wreck itself. Let her lie as a monument to her dead crew. And
She goes white as the proverbial ghost.
you've got no call to go looking for no cargo. Far as anyone's concerned, we sailed with an empty hold, and if there's anything left to salvage, you leave it where it is. Heed me. Leave the cargo of the Peacemaker alone.
She turns away. Conversation over.
Ooh, what do I want? I'm not sure what these things do.
Curiosity kills the cat, or gets it sent to Fort Joy.
You got that right, Hilga.
So
You got that right.
That's just a potion.
You're willing to risk Fort Joy for one night with a lizard?
From a mile away.
Then you're an
You can't be
idiot.
too careful.
I'm guessing this is some kind of...
Get Alexander, like any of us.
You're right about that. Right as rain, Hilga.
Curiosity kills the cat, gets it sent to Fort Joy.
Okay.
You're willing to risk
I may well
Fort
take
Joy
that.
for one night with a lizard? Then you're an idiot.
Okay. That's quite cool. So where's the Magister that suddenly appeared?
You've got a pick who you can trust.
You got that right, Hilga. You got that right.
Oh, there is somebody asleep in here.
Curiosity kills the cat, or gets it sent to Fort Joy.
And you can't be too careful.
Oh, there's the
If I can get Alexander.
You're willing to risk
They're
Fort
right
Joy for
outside,
one
that's
night
why.
with a lizard?
You're right about
Do you
that.
want tree stock? Huh. I want another beer and a bowl of stew. Which of us is more likely to get what they... I guess that makes me a sinner. Perhaps you can help us settle an argument. Thatcher here is one of my dearest friends, but she isn't the brightest.
Thatcher grins hello.
Our mate Boris got posted to Fort Joy for consorting with lizards, and Thatcher here still fancies a turn around the park with Loverick's lizard. I say she'd be sleeping with the enemy. What say you?
They look at you expectantly. Thatcher looks victorious. Eden looks annoyed.
You're as bad as she is. Get lost then, you're no use to me.
Eden turns back to her drink. Thatcher smiles goodbye.
Curiosity kills the cat, or gets it sent to Fort Joy.
Oh, there's another floor. There's another floor.
For one night with a lizard, then you're an idiot.
I don't think I've got any... Actually, I think I'm breaking in if I go up there by the looks of it at the moment. She did give me a key, didn't she, to a...
You've got a pick who you can trust.
Maybe that's... Alright, let's quick save. I'll open this. No. That is not the key I was given.
Kills the cat, or gets it sent to Fort Joy.
And you can't be too careful, you know? If I can get Alexander... Like
You're willing to risk Fort Joy for one night with a lizard.
Right as rain,
Then you're
Hilga.
an idiot.
It's a shame, it is.
An absolute shame.
Alexander, slaughtered like a supper lamb. Poor dear.
That was me. I killed Alexander. Although he's not actually dead.
It ain't right.
It ain't right. Never thought I'd say this. I hope they round up them sorcerers for good. I ain't needing one sick and a void woken on me.
I'm the sorcerer.
You said it, Hilga. You're a true patriot.
Or gets it sent to Fort Joy.
Ah, so this was the room, I think. I must be doing quite well on my... I know I've got a long way to go before next level. Always read the books because you might learn them. Yeah, there you go. I learn a new recipe. Or take the nails because I think they're... So is there a body in here somewhere?
And I'm
Did it?
saying, you can trust me. I can see a sorcerer from a mile away. And you can't be too careful, you know? If
I'm not sure what it wants me to cast it on. I've just never noticed that come up before. So I come over here, does it? No. So why do I...
you've got to pick who you can trust. I'm saying, you can trust me. I can see a sorcerer from a mile away. And you can't be too careful, you know? If they can get
I keep forgetting I've got that spell I can use. Okay, so we're going to go in here.
Doesn't this room strike you as eerie? There's a chill in the air. But, of course, I should hold my tongue and stand guard. All's well as long as my lord's coffers are safe.
So there's a ghost in here somewhere.
Careful now. That's a trap.
Oh, so 4 mines in front of them.
What on earth is that noise?
That would be my stomach, my lord. Perhaps I could go downstairs for a bit of stew?
As you approach the silken-robed noble, Ifan does a double-take and laughs in recognition. He pulls you to one side.
I know this man, and he's not at all what he seems. A moment.
Ifan bounds forward and embraces the man, all effusive greetings. As they part, talking animatedly, the man's beard slips sideways down his face. He's wearing a disguise. Ifan laughs as he straightens the beard. They chatter away for some time, using a guttural cant you struggle to understand. At one point, the man says something and looks over at you intently. Ifan waves his hand and laughs. The looks they turn upon you are colder than moon.
Nice company you keep, Ifan.
I'd best move on. See you around, Baron.
For some reason, the two of them burst into guffaws. Ifan claps the man on the back and turns to leave.
Well, now we know the way to the sawmill. And we know Roost thinks I'm bringing you there as part of the Godwoken contract. Hear that? Roost's camped out at the sawmill.
Okay. So that was part of Ifan's side quest. I'm just going to go and see what one of my cats is doing. Give me 2 seconds.
You got that right, Hilka. You got that right.
And I'm saying, you can trust me. I can see a sorcerer from a mile away. And you can't be too careful, you know?
Nothing much. Everything about on the kitchen table.
Curiosity kills the cat, or gets it sent to Fort Joy.
So let's just see if I can pick this lock on this door.
You're willing to risk Fort Joy for one night with a lizard.
I think it's like breaking and entering though if I get in there. I could just teleport somebody on the other side of it instead of breaking it open. Oh, maybe I could maybe do that. Let's quick save it and see whether that's possible or not. So no, it doesn't look like you can. Because you can only teleport where you can see.
You're willing to risk Fort Joy for one night with a lizard.
Okay. So I want to go back down. Where the stairs down.
You can trust.
You got that right, Hilka. You got that right.
And I'm saying,
So there must be a chef in here somewhere. There's another building over here. What's this place? Oh, that's where they're searching for the Just another quick save before I confront the cook.
The cook acknowledges you with a graceful little bow, but keeps her eyes on you the whole time.
There's nothing here for you, sister. You should go back out front, where it's safe. Cinnamon, not nutmeg. There's a food shortage in these parts. Fresh meat can be hard to come by. Liberal seasoning helps disguise all sorts of sins. Now, please, I must return to my work. Sharp knives, boiling liquids, short tempers. Don't underestimate the dangers here. Now, please, I must insist. There are other elves, ones who aren't working and have time to talk.
The cook's hand moves behind her back. Hadn't there been a knife on the table a moment before?
I find dignity in other ways. Those who gorge themselves out there call us savages. But I know differently. Now, please.
Keeping one hand behind her back, she gestures to the door with the other.
Higbert told you that. He's a fugitive, supposedly a sorcerer too. He'd say anything to save his own hide. I killed no one.
The cook doesn't respond. You notice that she has one hand behind her back when she hadn't before. The cook smiles. Her eyes bore right into you. Her hand remains concealed behind her.
The Magisters helped me. And the dwarves, the merchants, the pilgrims. Even the dogs helped me.
What dark paths your mind wanders down?
The things you're insinuating about me require proof, and it seems as though you have none. So don't you pit your word against mine. You'll only lose. Now get out of my kitchen before I make you wish the death fog had taken you.
Okay, so I can't prove anything yet.
What's this? I found something. This ring.
Now I have some proof.
I have nothing more for you. No food, no words. Get out.
The cook shakes her head. Ruth.
You should have just forgotten about all of this. Death fog's got nothing on me.
So she's quite tough. But hasn't got much in the way of let's put the fire out. Oh, here comes the other gal. Oh, it didn't put the fire out. It's necro fire, so I just need to. Oh, damn it! I should have realised that. So let's put her in it as well. So I should be able to pin her with a bit of luck. Yeah. I don't really want to use electricity because I'm going to get... always misses. I need to figure out why he misses. Oh god, now they've blinded half of us. Should be able to knock her down. Heal everybody up. This always takes a little while, 'cause you have to wait for the... So I don't know what happens now in terms of... Maybe I should have snuck in there. Let's see what it's done to the... I didn't think about that. So let's just get that healing going on... Oh, I just need to go and... Okay, I'm gonna
Cooking
take
notes. Wait, there's something wrong with this.
that.
A lifeless elven child is cradled in your arms. Your vision blurs with tears. You look away to a raised valley below. Tendrils of death fog dissipate, revealing a victorious Divine Order army advancing. Humans, magisters, murderer.
Okay, so let's go and report that. Solved a murder. Oh, where were they? I don't remember where they were now. Oh yeah, they were down here. Oh no, they weren't. Well, I can't remember where they were. Oh, they're over there where that red flag is on the map. There was a boat on the right that's throwing me.
The Magister is rubbing the dirt off his robes, none the worse for wear, apparently, from the blast of magic that knocked him off his feet.
You, the so-called friend of Dallas. I'd be whining and dining aboard the Lord Bread if it weren't for you. Your meddling in Magister affairs had better be worth it. Yes, I am very much aware. Wasn't my damn head that hit the floor back there. Now answer me. Did you meet with a Magister caravan on your way into town? The hour's growing late and I'm beginning to worry something might have gone wrong. By the Bishop's bones, you saw it. Out with it, woman. What happened? Dwarves! Now pox on those bearded devils. Raymond, that old goat, always suspected there's more to the Driftwood dwarves than meets the eye. Hey, too many things have gone wrong along Reaper's Coast to attribute to bad luck. Magister ships sinking, weapons disappearing, and as you've seen, a caravan attacked and destroyed. Rumour has it the Dwarvian Queen herself is behind these acts of sabotage. That is what I want you to prove. There's a local thug, Lohar. He west of Driftwood. It's wild territory, remote and hostile. Where
Suddenly
I
a different
believe
voice
the
actor.
dwarves may have set up a base of operations away from prying eyes. Should you find any such place, and better yet, proof that Lohar is working on behalf of Queen Justinia, you will be handsomely rewarded, I assure you. They've always been snakes in the grass. Cheap labour, sure, and hard workers too. Half of them are their queen's spies. Her eyes, her ears, her poison-pouring hands. You know what Queen Justinia is like, surely. A tyrant and a master strategist to boot. In that case, go forth and let the hunt commence.
Okay, so he wasn't the person I was supposed to report the murder to. Oh, he's up here, I think. So apparently my internet quality suddenly dipped, and I can see it on the, I don't know whether it's the stream's bad your end as well, but it suddenly dropped in quality. Oh no, it's alright. It's alright. I think it, for some reason, went weird. But okay, so another quick save here. Oh no, it's still dipping in and out of quality. Oh, maybe it's just when I'm moving.
Surrounded by incompetence. I deserve a better posting.
The Magister startles, realizing there's a stranger in his midst.
What do you want, Elf? You can't just come in here as you please. There's Magisters missing. I'm trying to conduct a bloody investigation. Well, what are you waiting for? Tell me. What? The bloody cook? It can't be. Whoa, why did Higba have that contraband then? Then he's still guilty of something. I'm not calling off the manhunt until I have that fiend one way or another. As for this cook, do you have any proof?
The Magister snatches the ring from your palm and stares at it.
This is a conduct award. I presented it to Magister Harrick myself. She was the second one to be taken. The cook's been reported dead. I thought she was another victim, but if she had this, she must have been the culprit. There's no other explanation.
He shudders in disgust.
Vile elven wickedness. I ought not to give you any reward for your kind's filthy actions, but I'm a man of my word.
He tosses a pouch of gold at
Take that, and get out of here, elf.
So I can get a potion of nimble tumble.
Elson, my inkwell is dry. Fetch me some more.
Right away. What am I going to do?
Earth tongue mushroom or amethyst deceiver.
It can't be far, can it?
Let's get some of that. There's somebody else here. Oh, this is the prison. Okay. We can come back there another time. It looks like there's somebody else here to talk to, doesn't it? Oh no, maybe not.
I'm watching you, stranger. That's Magister business. Keep your nose out of it. Of course, sir. Right away.
Okay, so she could probably go and do the stuff for... Okay. I had a message come off my PlayStation saying the internet connection wasn't strong enough to broadcast, but it didn't actually stop. So I think it's this building. Oh no, there it is, Mordus's house, that's where I want to go.
Take that, sorcerer! Dallas, get her!
You're dead, Alexander! Alexander, you're dead! You have to stay dead until we say you're not dead anymore!
Here, missus! Alexander doesn't have to stay dead, does he? Hey, are you an elf? Whoa!
Cool! I think you look weird.
See? Told ya. Take that, sorcerer. Come on, Dallas, help me put a collar on her.
Turtle Johnny puts an invisible source collar on Mary Lane.
Take that, sorcerer! No more saucy sorcery for you! Alexander and Dallas save the world again! I hate this game.
The three kids stare at you.
Crap! The source collar's broken. I'm free. How about you, Dallas? I'll kill you again, Alexander. I'm a big bad sorcerer.
For a moment, you watch the children play. Then you leave them to it.
This This must be the place Lohar mentioned. It looks unassuming enough.
Useless. Bloody useless. Might as well have rotted in the death fog. What's even the point?
Oh, who's this guy up here?
An elf in tattered red robes shifts through pages of handwritten notes spread across the table.
So many suspects. So many potential culprits. I need to narrow down the list. Think, you damn elf, think.
A floorboard creaks beneath your foot. The elf leaps around abruptly.
What are you doing, elf? Trying to get a drop on me? Sneak up and slit my throat? I'm no elf. Don't you call me that. Seven preserve me. Are you entirely ignorant, elf? My own Magister comrades are vanishing from right here in Driftwood. Whoever's behind it must be stopped. If you hear anything, come to me.
Oh dear.
I was a Magister once. It was my whole life. But elves were banished from the ranks. I had hoped maybe if I could solve this case for them, they'd let me back into the fold. No matter. Farewell, stranger.
Oh dear. So I'm thinking maybe I could have given him the credit. Let's have a look. So that's back into that, so I don't think I maybe missed out on some XP by not involving him in that previous quest, but I think I'm doing alright at the moment. Yeah, it's creeping up, it's creeping up. I thought there was going to be another way in. Oh, it's saving, so there's something about to happen. Oh, I can get in through the side door.
The dwarf is unnaturally still. You might mistake her for a corpse, were it not for a slight twitch of her eyelids. She calmly opens her left eye, then her right.
What do you want?
The dwarf unfolds her arms and shoots to her feet.
All right, elf. Right glad Lohar ain't left us here to wither. Those brutes are taking their sweet time down there. I gotta send word soon. Who knows? Anything that gives away what Mordus has been up to. Probably got all sorts of tricks for covering his tracks, but the goons downstairs should sniff out something. That weird priest's been hanging around Lohar for ages. Now he's vanished. Those half-wits below will know more. Get to it then. But tell the lunkheads that Glenn has sent you before they bash your brains in.
Okay, so I'm gonna just have a quick look in my journal and double check that I'm doing the right stuff here. Okay. The law of the order. So I can play this two different ways, I guess. So... I think the first thing I might do is apparently... I'll come out of here for a minute. We'll go down in the hatch in a bit. And I thought there might be. There's a hatch somewhere in the fishery, which is just here. Ooh. Let's go in with... It's there, look. Just reloading it. I don't want Ivan's attitude to drop. I must need to sneak in there, I'm guessing. I think it'll mean having that conversation with that dwarf woman again. Which feels like a good time to end the stream anyway, I think, seeing as I'm not progressing the story, so I will log off.